Cheese. Cheese. Cheese.
What's up, Cheese Squads? Cheesehead number 2, and I'm starting a new series for Call of War. So this is going to be the tutorial series. So there's going to be a lot of videos for this one, but this one's basically going to cover basically the very, very basics of Call of War. So right before we actually get into the gameplay, I'm going to quickly talk about doctrines. So as you can see here on the sides, before you join a game, you can see what doctrine they use. So this is the symbol for the Axis, this is the symbol for the Comintern, and this is the symbol for the Allies. This is the symbol for Pan-Asian. All of these doctrines have different strengths and weaknesses, which will be in the doctrines video, but that's not very necessary for the basics, so that's going to be in a separate video. Once you pick your doctrine, preferably after watching the doctrines video that I will have coming out soon, we'll talk about the basics of Call of War. Alright, so as you can see, I just loaded in the game here. I'm going to first talk about resources, because resources are very important. So as you can see here, we got food, goods, manpower, metal, oil, rare materials, and money. So these are all important because what you need to make troops. So for example, if you want to make infantry, you need 790 food and 300 goods. So in order to make more materials, which is very important, you need to go to areas that make resources. So if you want more oil, you'd go over to an oil province, and it makes 1,000 oil. But if you need more oil, you can go to construction and put local industry in there, and this will improve how much oil this province makes. If you need resources immediately, you can just press the show market button, and then you can buy resources, or you can go on the bottom here and sell resources. And of course you can make offers as well. So to do that, you add a sell or buy offer. So let's say you wanted to buy food, but you didn't want to spend 7.2 per food. You wanted it to be a bit cheaper, so you'd add a buy offer. So then you put in the amount that you want to buy. So in this case, we want to buy that much food, because why not? And we don't want to pay 7 like we did last time. We only want to pay, like, say 4. Then you put the add buy offer, and then you can go ahead and make the offer. Now, you won't get the stuff right away, because people actually have to go and sell their goods, or their food. But that's basically how the market works. Alright, so now you know basically how the market works, and you know how to make more resources. So right before we start getting into how to make units, we're gonna go over how to move them, because you start off with quite a few infantry units, and you actually start off with quite a few units. So I'm gonna talk about how to move those right now. So in order to move units, it's very simple. You just click on them, and from there you can just drag, and then let go with the mouse, and then they will start going there. Or you could go on the orders menu. It'll tell you all this stuff. So where it is right now, so it'll tell you the province that it's in right now. It's going to, and then it'll tell you the province it's going to. And this travel time, how long it takes to get there, and then arrival time, so when it will get there. So here it says that it's going to arrive 7:50, and it's going to take 1 hour and 4 minutes to get there. For orders that you can give to these infantry units, move is pretty straightforward. Move, and then you can move wherever you like. So I'm going to move them here. Attack is for attacking, so if I wanted to attack, I'd press attack, and I would go attack over there. We have add a target, so if I wanted to go here, and then loop around and go here, what you would do is you'd click go to tell them to go there, and then add a target, and then go there. And that's how you do that. You can add targets, so if you also wanted to go here, and then add another target and go there, you can do that. Now this next stuff is also pretty basic here. So you got delay. So they're going to arrive in 1 hour and 2 minutes. But I can delay them. And then you set your delay time. So here we'll delay them for 13 minutes. And now they're going to wait 13 minutes before marching. The next thing is forced march. So if you want them to get there even faster, then you can click on force march. But over time, this will actually make your units morale here. That will lower it. And once it's below 50% morale, you can lose the unit. So I don't recommend force marching unless you like absolutely have to. So that's how you move armies. When you combined armies, basically all that is when multiple units are in the same area, they just gather up. So this infantry, they're all going to the same area with this infantry, so they'll grow up to a stack of 3. If you want, for example, here I have anti-air in this stack here. If I want to remove that from the stack, because anti-air slows your infantry down, you can just press split and remove that, move, and then click on where you want them to move. And now they're split. How to make units, which will be also with buildings and stuff. So in order to do that, you're going to go click on any city. A city looks like, well, this. They have like a bunch of little buildings, and they're named right there. So what you're going to want to do with these is you can click on a city and then put construction. Now there are a bunch of stuff that you can make here, and that might look like a lot of stuff, but it's actually quite simple. So if you want to make anything in the infantry here, so any of these, then you got to build a barracks. If you want any of these, so like artillery, anti-tank guns, anti-air guns, stuff like that, then you're going to need to go and build an ordnance foundry. If you want tanks, like any of these, then you need to build a tank plant, and aircraft factory for air, and a naval base for a navy, and a secret lab for the secret units. What you're going to be building depends on what you research. So if you go over to research, so you got all of the classes that we just talked about earlier. So we'll start off with the infantry because it's the most basic. Infantry here, you can see in all of them, there's going to be this line, this green line in the middle. And on the top, it says available on day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now we're on day 1, so the green line is blocking off everything past day 1. And you can only research stuff behind the green line. So that, for infantry, would be militia and infantry. And then it tells you how long it takes to research, so 30 minutes. And infantry is usually pretty good, so we're going to get that. Also going to get some armored cars. As you can see here, yellow means, like there's a yellow dot right there. That means that it's researchable, but you don't have it yet. Blue means that it's researched, like you researched it. And then red means that you need to research something else before you can get this. So you can't research light tanks until you have armored cars. So I'm going to get an armored car so that later on I can go and get light tanks. So now that I've researched infantry and armored cars are in the tank spot, so I'm going to build some barracks to build the infantry that I'm researching. And then in the other two cities, I'm going to build some tank plants so that I can build some tanks that I'm also researching. Now, don't forget that you can also upgrade stuff. So here, now that the tank plant's done, I can get a tank plant level 2, and that will make tanks have a shorter time to build. Now, once you're actually done building the tanks, you have them researched, you can go click, or for your infantry as well, click on what you want to build. So for right now, I'll go on the tanks. And if you want to build a tank here, you'll see it takes this many resources, and this long, and then produce, and then it'll start making that armored car. So that's pretty much it. The only thing that I have left to talk about is unit stats, which is actually quite simple. So every doctrine has different stuff. If you want to know the specifics on like what they get and stuff, check out the doctrine video that will be coming out soon. Basically, so we'll take a look here. If you want to know how strong an army is, you click on it. So here we have this 1 infantry information, and you get this. And then you get status and protection. So we'll start off with the damage. So the damage potential, basically the damage that you're going to be dealing, is 4 on attack and 6 on defense against infantry. And then you have all the other stuff. So light armor, which is like your light tanks, armored cars. Heavy armor, which is like your medium tanks and your heavy tanks. You got your aircraft, buildings, naval units, and submarines. It says potential because of the next stat, which is efficiency. So what that means is after you have an army stronger than like 10 units, then you can only fight with those 10 units. All the other armies won't be dealing damage. So then you'll have like your army won't be very efficient. But since this is only 1, it's going to be 100% efficient. So it's going to be dealing the full 4 and 6. If you forget all this and you need to know really quickly, you can just scroll down here and it tells you what all that means. So the next bit here is status, so hit points, size, efficiency, and movement speed. You can just read this in the game. It's pretty simple. Basic stuff like size, efficiency, I just talked about that. Movement speed, basic stuff like it'll go by the slowest unit, and if it drops below 50 morale, it receives a speed penalty, and basic stuff like that. And then we have protection, which is basically home defense bonus. So, and if you're in a core territory, so every province that you start with is core. If you take over provinces, then that's not core territories. And yeah, when you're in a core territory province and you're defending, you get extra 15% bonus. So now there's only two more things that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how aircraft works, and I'm going to talk about how coalitions work, and basically teams. So how aircraft works. You always start off with one interceptor. These are meant for taking down other aircraft. So as you can see when I click on it here, we get a range. The circle is, anything in the circle is in its range, even the white part here. Anything outside of this white line is out of range, but anything inside of it, that's in range. So if I wanted to attack that plane, it's in range, so I could do that. If I wanted to move to another air base, which I'll talk about later, you could do that. Patrolling is basically anywhere within your range here, you can do a patrol. So out here can't do it, but in here you can. And you'll notice there's a blue circle, and that's what your plane will be revealing. So I don't know what this is, but if I wanted to, I can patrol this area, and that plane's going to go over there and check out what it is. Now if I wanted, say, if I took a bit more control over the area around me, and I wanted to move my planes a bit further back, or if I wanted to have my plane attack or patrol around Japan, but clearly it's out of range, you can move to air bases within range. So you go to any province that you like. So I want an air base in here, so that my aircraft can move from here to there. Construct, and then you go to airstrip, and that will basically allow you to do that. So last thing, for the very, very basics of Call of War 1.5, you go to coalitions. These are like your teams. So you go over to coalition, and then you can either create your own, or you can join one that's already there. So it shows here the coalition, so their names and their flags, the countries in them, how many provinces they have, how many people are in the team, and how many victory points each team has. Victory points are basically how many points you need in order to win. You gotta do right now. So you go in the newspaper, and then control 2,736 victory points. And that's what you need in order to win. Now back to the coalitions. So that's how much victory points they have. So if I wanted to join one here, I would notice that there isn't actually one anywhere around my area. All of these are very far away. So in this case, I need to make one. But in order to join one, you click on their information, and then you press apply, and the leader of the coalition will have to accept your application. But if you wanted to create your own, what you do is just basically press create a new coalition, and then you type in a name. So we'll go with pretty basic, and then we can go to description and call it and then you can go and set a flag by taking a picture that you want, and you press select a flag, and it'll take you over to your files, and you can select what flag you'd like. And then once you do that, you create your coalition. So yeah, that is the basics of Call of War. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. I'll definitely have more videos out for this series. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And the question for you today is, do you like cheese?
cheese.